for everybody. So good morning, everybody, and welcome back to the show. We're going to talk a little bit about the Bulls' last dance. Terry said he wanted to talk about it. Terry, do you want anything specific you wanted to get into to start off with, or did you want me to kind of lead in with anything?
I mean, you go ahead and lead in. I just think it's a lot that you don't realize how much Jerry Krause. I mean, I've always believed in dynasties, and I ever thought you ever take them away until it just falls apart.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, he had a lot of turmoil with his players, especially when it comes to Scottie Pippen.
I mean, think about Terry and the fact that, Dallas folks. Jerry Jones has fired Tom Landry and Jimmy Johnson.
Mm-hmm.
And at the end of the day, Jerry chose the players over the coach, and this is a weird situation. And I try to explain, Hunter in the weeks coming up to it, and the folks online that didn't see Jordan or know the story and everything. I remember all this.
Mm-hmm.
I remember every bit of it because it was just amazing to me, like you're just sitting there saying, why you would split this up over just ego. And that's every bit of it was. And it made you mad as a fan that somehow, some way, Jordan and Phil Jackson just couldn't get maybe just to another franchise. If this is how you guys want it, there was two things that should have happened, and it should have been either Jerry Krause should have been run out of town by Reinsdorf, and he didn't. If you watch the thing, everything he defended every decision Krause ever made. He defended like nobody else could have traded Oakley for Cartwright. Come on. Somebody can make a trade. It's not like Cartwright was that good. He scored, 10 points a game? Come on. So the thing about that was, and I wanted Hunter to see and the younger generation, is that not only did he win 6 championships, he took 2 years off for baseball, and the owners and the GMs that he won the 6 championships for didn't even really want them there, and they would rather count hot dog money than win championships. They haven't won a damn thing before or after since Jordan was there.
And Pippen was one of those who, I'm going to get you back. Where Jordan was even mad at Pippen for not having his surgery because he prolonged it until it was into the
Jordan
last
just
season.
Got out of his original contract, they didn't even mention, was 8 years, $24 million. So that's what Jordan's point was when people say, well, Jordan's being mean to Pippen about wanting his more money. Yeah, Pippen wanted more money, but Jordan wanted you're right, he wanted him to take the surgery early because they knew it was going to be the last year, and he wanted him to take it earlier. And he knew Krause wasn't going to give him a contract because they didn't give Michael a contract. So why would they give Scottie a contract?
And I gave Pippen a lot of credit because when he come in, he was from Alexander, but
Central Arkansas.
Central Arkansas, yeah. But I mean, when he come in, he took a deal for 7 years because he was thinking about long term for himself. Because he didn't think his might have been as good as what he was, but he is a lot better. I mean, when you take the 6 NBA championships, the only thing that Jordan led the Bulls in was scoring. Pippen led them in the rebounds, but you compare the two, he led them in rebounds, assists, steals, blocks, everything else that there was to do. The only thing Jordan led them in was scoring. Between those two guys, Pippen did everything else. And when it come up to who you wanted to face on defense, they moved Pippen over there, but Jordan wanted to play the best offensive guy that you had, but they wouldn't let him on account of they had Pippen.
You didn't have to, and that's the thing is Jordan didn't have to guard.
That's what I'm saying.
What you did was that Jordan would guard the other team's best player if he was a shooting guard. But they didn't make him seek him out. Well, why would you make the guy you're about to have shoot 25 shots playing number one defense? Scottie was. That's funny, Hunter. He just mentioned all those things Scottie led in. Sounds like Draymond, plus 20 points.
Well, that's what it is. I mean, Draymond probably leads in everything except scoring.
God, yeah. Draymond sure was leading that triple single this year, wasn't he?
So
that's all I gotta say.
Yeah. Well, that's all Terry's got to say.
That's all he got to say.
Well, Terry.
That's all he can say.
Looking at Jordan's first few years of his career, first year rookie season, you obviously don't expect him to win a championship that year. The second year, he gets hurt, comes back, plays the Celtics.
Still drops a career in NBA high 63.
Let me tell you about that game right there.
On what Larry Bird and most people think is the best Celtics team.
Yeah, and Bird even said, the Boston has 6 guys that scored in double figures. Or Chicago had 2. The second leading scorer, can you name him? for Chicago.
I'm going to guess. I don't know. Was it at Woolridge?
Orlando
Was it?
Woolridge.
That was the only one I knew that was any good.
9 out of 27 from the floor.
Orlando Woolridge.
But he was the second guy who led them. But the thing about that game is even Daggum Bird come out and said it was almost like God was in Michael's shoes.
Yeah.
You know, of how he played. But he said, I would have never, ever thought some guy could score 63 against us. You know, and he did. But now Boston swept that series and beat them 3-0. But, you know, when I go back and I look at all them things, I'm like, okay, what did Michael do? Michael was 19 out of 21 from the floor. He was 22 out of 41. So, you know, percentage-wise, he's over 50%, and I guess that's good for the NBA if you're shooting over 50 for where Michael was shooting from. But 22 out of 41. But 63 points was a lot. And Michael, to me, and that's when people asked me after I watched it, we was talking this past week at the school, and people asked me about Michael now, and I said, forget it. Michael would average 40 points a game nowadays with how they played, and they hand-checked you.
Well, Terry, we discussed that the other day. Let's just put the math on it. Well, I mean, one year he did average 37.
Yeah.
In that year, he averaged 0.8 3-pointers a game, taking. Harden averages.
Now, Michael never shot a three-pointer in that game against Boston.
Yeah, he had 63 with no threes.
Yeah.
So, and you said he was, what, 22 shots?
Out of 41.
So how many free throws is that in?
19 out of 21.
And that's what people, you know, they don't get, Terry, about Mike, is that those free throws. He lived at the free throw line because Hunter. What did the Pistons do when he drove?
They hacked him.
They just destroyed him.
Him and all of them went back to the weight room on account of Detroit.
And what was he was so great? He would take the contact. The other guys would hit the ground, and he would still be floating. So he was captain and one. He started those. You know, you're going to foul me. I'm going in. The guards doing that and being physical with it. And it was just 19 free throws. Think about it. No threes, 63 points. And what Clay had, 57 on, he had 17 threes or something like that. And Jordan had 63 with no threes. And so, Terry, again, I like to talk about this real quick, is that back then you had hand checking, one. Then once you got by them, you had 7-footers in the shot blockers in the lane. So now if you're spread out on defense and Jordan has the ball and the guy guarding him, one, can't stay in front of him because they can't. Two, you can't hand check him. So he's going by that guy, right? You got to double team if you're not. If he gets by him, then he kicks it out to a wide open guy who's shooting a three or dunks on whoever the non-shot blocking 7-footer they have standing in the lane now. Whatever Ninny's in the lane right now standing in the lane. So to me, like you just said, the 40, I don't think 40 would be a problem.
Oh, no, 40 would not. It'd be easy.
I think in his heyday, it would be closer to 50.
Yeah, it would definitely
on his
be
career
40.
high. Like if his career high is 37 now, with that type of defense, it would have to add 5 to 10 points. And it's just the style of play. And then everybody's like, well, he didn't shoot threes. Okay, let's say if he played today, Hunter, would he not be practicing threes?
I was about to say.
And then
I made that argument in my argumentative paper.
Like he wouldn't be
Players
practicing
today
threes.
have had the three-point line since elementary school.
Right.
Michael Jordan didn't have the three-point line until his second or third year in college.
Right.
Yeah.
So with that too,
The kids are practicing three-pointers in elementary school
now.
Hunter,
Kindergarten.
Let's say he never practices a three. He says, you know what? I'm going to be Ben Simmons. He's already proved he can average 37 being Ben Simmons.
Yeah.
Now think that hard defense in today's lack defense. How many would he average? He still don't have a three, so he would get the 40.
The thing that really got me about that, and I'm glad you brought him up, he only attempted 2 3-pointers last year. Ben Simmons. 2.
Harden averages 8 a game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He averages 8, which means he has some games where he shoots 12 or more.
And Ben Simmons attempted 2.
That is
whole
unusual.
year.
That is unusual.
Yeah.
That is unusual.
For him to be a scorer.
But so Terry, let's say Michael does this. He would still average a 30. But Hunter, you know what I would do in today's? If Michael didn't shoot a 3 and I had him in today's league, why wouldn't you just make him the point guard? Point guard, do like LeBron. Point guard, 3 3-point shooters, and a center that can block shots. How would you beat that? Because you can't stay in front of him, because if you do, he's going to kick it to the 3-point shooter. And they're going to hit the threes. So you just put him at point, young Jordan at point, but not the older one, but younger.
He had point guards.
Yeah.
Jordan had point guards. I mean, you had Harper, you had Armstrong.
They were the first teams to win with guards.
Yeah.
Like every other team before then had big men at some point. The Pistons kind of slid by there without a great big man.
And
I guess Isaiah, he got it done. But you still had Lambeer making all-star teams, and Rodman made all-star teams too.
And I love it because you got to watch Sunday, because this when Rodman comes in. Rodman would be put against 7-footers to aggravate them.
Right.
You know, because he was going to be a lot more athletic.
It's about your feet.
It is. And to keep them out, I mean, that's what he is going to do. And they put him against some of the best people that you could think of underneath the basket. But now another thing I did like about the whole thing was when, and I can't remember whether it was Jordan's family or Pippen's family. I can't remember who the guy they was talking to. It was one of them's brother. But he kind of sat there and he was talking about, you know, back then when we were growing up, we didn't know what poor meant. You know, he says we'd go, and if we had a basketball, we were happy. He said we played with what we had.
I think Scotty said that because he had like 12 brothers and sisters.
Yeah, it might have been Scotty. But, you know, I love that part because, you know, and it's the same thing in our society. Unless you grow up with that, when I go back and think about it, I mean, I've got stuff that I kept that when I was a kid, and, you know, and you go back and think about Kool-Aid. You didn't care. A Coca-Cola, it didn't have to be top-notch brands of cola. It could be just a Coke. That's all it had to have on it, and you were happy.
I got a new rule, and I don't understand why nobody's ever done it. We go to the restaurants, you pay, what, $1 or $2 for tea? Why do restaurants not have Kool-Aid? It wouldn't be expensive if every kid loves Kool-Aid. That should be at every restaurant.
If you even want to charge for it, you charge 50 cents for
What you
Kool-Aid.
do
Why is that
you
hard?
go in, you get water, you take
a
your little water
packet.
flavor.
Well, they should offer it.
Beat the system, Kevin.
Beat the system.
Right.
I
know there's a way to get around it.
Which is an irrelevant point now because nobody can go to a restaurant.
You seen the Kool-Aid squirters?
Do what?
The squirt
Yeah,
flavors
you
things?
can like.
Yeah, Mio. That's what I was talking about.
Those little Mio thingies.
The Food Line brands
Those
not
are
bad.
pretty good.
Yeah.
I've always wondered, like, well, why can't I get Kool-Aid at a restaurant? It wouldn't be that hard. If you can make tea, you can make me some Kool-Aid. All right, so Jordan, in his career, took 1,778 threes. In the last 2 seasons alone, Harden, 1,797 threes. In the last 2 years, James Harden has taken more threes than Jordan did in his whole
career.
The game is
career.
It's just unbelievable.
Yeah,
How much
just shows how much.
And I hate watching the Houston Rockets.
And don't get me wrong, and when you were speaking of it a minute ago, and that's like when we have an Optimist programs, and I see second and third graders. So it's hard for the kindergartners to hit one that far, but second and third graders firing from 3-point line. And I'm like,
if you don't hit 40%, guys,
there's no reason to take it.
Listen,
but the crowd goes wild if they hit it.
If you can hit 40%, that you know, do it. But if you can't, then don't. All right. So today's NBA average in a game is per team? 34 threes. Yes, this is per 3-point attempts. This is per game.
The mid-range jump shot is dead.
Yeah, it's almost gone.
I mean, nobody does it. They either drive.
Because analytics says that it's a bad shot. Analytics says it's a bad shot, and yet the greatest player of all time was a killer at it.
Yeah. The guy with the most points per game in his career hit mid-range shots.
Yeah.
Because guess what? People run you off the three. People foul you at the line.
Yep.
So if I hit the mid-range, that means you have to foul me because I'm going to make every shot in the mid-range. That's the thing. That's the thing with Dirk and his fadeaway. It's not that you do it every time. It's not that that's the play. Jordan's first option was to take it to the rack and get an and one. As he was so acrobatic. It's not like he was like, I want to shoot a jumper.
And I will give Jordan a lot of credit when he played, and when he come back and he was injured, they only gave him like 7 minutes per half that he could play. And Jordan wasn't used to that. They took him out one game when it's 33 seconds. And the game's on the line.
That was the original load management. That was the original load management.
Yeah, and he did not like it. But then the coaches look at him and go, I cannot do this because I'm going to lose my job if I stick you back in. And just so happened Paxson hits a shot to win it for him, you know, and they win the game. But Jordan is like he never went to do anything. And I love what he said, and this is what's wrong with this world today. He said, I went to every game and I played because he said, I never know what father had bought a ticket for a young man to come and watch me play.
Well, definitely. And especially as the road teams, people come to see Michael Jordan.
Yeah,
and you did. Looking just at some quick notes, Jordan's last championship, the league. This was when they started going into a defensive error. Averaged 98 points a game. His first championship, it was 106 points a game. And then the average now is 111 points a game. So teams now are shooting, in the NBA game, an average NBA game, 34 three-pointers. In 1998, it was 19. So they're shooting 17 more threes to get 5 more points per game. Now, then when you back that up, Michael Jordan with no threes is the all-time leading scorer in per game, and they're averaged in his final year 15 less points a game. So he scores more than LeBron and Durant now, whose teams get 15 more points a game than he did in 1998, and he still, with no threes, got more points than those guys. That's what people need to realize, how freaking impressive that is. I mean, that's and he's 6'6". He wasn't 7 foot. He was the first one.
Yeah, that's what I said.
He's a guard.
He won't dominate games. He's not 7
He's
foot.
a guard.
Yeah.
All right, Hunter. Monday. We'll be back Monday afternoon.
Monday.
2 o'clock, same time, same back channel. I don't know if anything's changed yet.
No, nothing's changed. Nothing yet. And it probably won't change maybe for another month.
Okay. So expect us back Monday and Wednesday. Tom might join us one of them. He said maybe Monday. We will have Cousin Zach will be back Wednesday. He had to do some work this week on Grandma's house and some other things. So we'll have him back Wednesday, talk the draft and the documentary. I'm sure he's ready to excited to talk about some Michael Jordan stuff as well. Let's see. Terry, we'll see you next Saturday. High school sports, it's pretty much done for the year.
It's done.
So
it's a sad day for those seniors.
The seniors all around in sports, as well as also, Tom, I guess next week and the next few weeks they're going to start figuring out what they're going to do about graduation stuff and exactly the situation on that. I'm sure I'll get some phone calls and maybe help with something somewhere.
I've heard it's going to be parents only.
So there's going to be some things, and we'll get it settled and try to help you guys and get the info out on the graduations and other info. Terry, any other announcements or anything? You guys want to say anything to anybody?
Just remember at Burns, there's still meal pickup during the week. So I think Lincoln County has the same thing, right, Terry?
Same thing going.
Just remember Burns picking up information for your kids. Your learning packets and things is on Monday. Middle school, I think, lets you pick them up on variety days. If you miss pickup day, call the school. They will arrange that for you. Mm-hmm. And if you're having problems with the internet, I know Burns Middle School in Cleveland County is a hot spot. Kaiser Elementary School is a hot spot. If you're having problems getting internet access, call the school. They'll point you in the right direction.
Lincoln County Schools has hot spots as well.
Yeah.
I saw a post yesterday from that.
The best thing you can do, like Burns, their office hours right now, they're trying to limit it in the office. Mm-hmm. But there's usually somebody there more hours. But 10 to 2, you'll definitely get a hold of somebody. So if you want to know any more information about meal pickup, if you want any more information about picking up packets, internet access, call Burns High School or any of the high schools between 10 and 2, and we'll be happy to help you out.
All right, guys, shopping online locally. You're stuck at home, go to whatsupshopper.com. We've got four-wheelers, cars, furniture, all kinds of things on there on whatsupshopper.com. Local businesses, local advertising. Shop locally. Also, Tom and Terry, reminder, if you guys want to stop by the studios this week and pick you up an official Tampa Bay bandwagon fan transfer sheet, you can fill it out and give it to Andre. He'll take care of the paperwork. We'll see you guys next week, Saturday morning sports talk, Mitchum's Kitchen on KBC Broadcasting.com.